Blake Lively's carefully crafted image is unraveling faster than ever. The actress, once praised as Hollywood's golden girl, is now facing an avalanche of backlash after a judge's latest decision exposed major contradictions in her story. What began as a routine deposition has spiraled into full-blown chaos. Her texts and behind-the-scenes footage didn't just raise a few questions, they directly clashed with her earlier claims, shaking the foundation of her credibility. Instead of easing the tension, Blake made things worse. She filed subpoenas against more than 35 small creators, including YouTubers and online commentators with tiny followings. Some of them weren't even monetized, yet found themselves dragged into a legal storm they couldn't afford to fight. Critics, legal analysts, and even the court accused her of using her fame and resources to intimidate everyday people. It was a move that many described as tone-deaf and cruel, a far cry from the empowering public image she's built over the years. When she was asked to face the music, Blake delayed her deposition again for the second time. The woman who once championed transparency and justice couldn't even step into a courtroom and answer direct questions. What was once seen as confidence now looks like avoidance. Outlets that used to celebrate her, from Daily Mail to Radar Online, have started calling it what it is, a PR meltdown. Even her loyal fans are quietly backing away, realizing the person they supported may not match the image she portrays online. But this isn't the first time Blake's been accused of rewriting history. Years ago, her plantation-themed wedding sparked outrage and for a while, the internet reminded her of it every year like clockwork. Then suddenly, all those posts, threads, and screenshots vanished. Pages that once exposed the controversy were deleted, locked, or mysteriously wiped away. Many believe this was no coincidence. Insiders claim her PR team used reputation management tactics to bury the scandal under waves of positive press and pastel-filtered empowerment posts. It wasn't accountability, it was digital erasure. Then came her inclusion on Time's 100 Most Influential People list, a move that left even her supporters confused. Critics pointed out that her so-called activism and donations seemed perfectly timed to repair her image, not to make lasting change. When her fashion campaign tied to a controversial brand abruptly disappeared from the web, the timing felt too neat, as if someone had hit a reset button before anyone could ask questions. Behind the glamour, the cracks were already showing. Hollywood insiders quietly distanced themselves. Big names like Florence Pugh, Charlize Theron, and Natalie Portman unfollowed her online, a subtle but powerful statement. And when Angelina Jolie spoke a single calm sentence about integrity and legacy, it hit harder than any public takedown. Blake's glossy persona began to crumble under the weight of one truth she couldn't control. What once looked like confidence now reads as performance. Her timeline may be spotless, but it's only because everything inconvenient was scrubbed away. She didn't erase her past because it was misunderstood, she erased it because it was true. And no PR team, no magazine cover, no photo-perfect family post can hide that forever. In the end, the woman who once built a career on charm and illusion now faces the one thing she can't edit or filter: reality. Her silence says more than any caption could. Because when your entire brand is built on being seen, disappearing might just be the loudest statement of all. You can't claim to stand for women's rights while using the law to chase down other women for having opinions. Yet that's exactly the contradiction unfolding in Blake Lively's latest legal drama. Let's rewind to July 17, the day she was finally expected to be deposed by attorney Brian Friedman. Did she show up? Not even close. Just hours before the scheduled session, Blake cancelled, leaving her legal team, who had already flown to New York, stranded. This wasn't the first time either. She had done the same thing in June, and now again in July. At this point, it's anyone's guess when she'll finally appear. Maybe September, maybe the holidays, or maybe never. Her excuse this time? She didn't feel safe. An odd claim from someone who spent her life walking red carpets, surrounded by flashing cameras and security. If she can handle the Met Gala, surely a conference room full of lawyers isn't the real threat. Her team tried to justify the no-show by blaming the dismissal of Jed Wallace, a flimsy excuse at best. Wallace was dismissed for jurisdictional reasons, something that had absolutely nothing to do with Blake's own obligation to testify. It's like saying a traffic ticket in Texas stopped her from showing up for a court date in New York, completely irrelevant. Meanwhile, the public fallout keeps growing. Media outlets are openly questioning the gap between her polished public persona and her real-world behavior. Fans are calling out the hypocrisy, insiders are whispering, and even former supporters are stepping back. The glamorous PR image that once seemed unshakable is now cracking under pressure. Her legal strategy, designed to protect her reputation, is now doing the opposite. It's making her look manipulative, evasive, and out of touch. Postponing depositions, subpoenaing small creators, and throwing up legal roadblocks have transformed what could have been a routine case into a spectacle of overreach and intimidation. Each delay, each subpoena, each contradiction chips away at the America's sweetheart image she's built over the years. The bigger question now isn't if she'll face her deposition. It's whether her brand will survive the storm she's created. The Blake Lively saga has become a masterclass in how celebrity privilege can backfire. Because in the courtroom, fame doesn't buy immunity and every move is being watched. PR expert Eric Schiffer put it bluntly. This isn't fear. It's stalling. And he's right. The moment she sits under oath, the carefully crafted victim narrative falls apart. Then came the Jed Wallace twist, a case that wasted months and thousands of dollars only to collapse under its own weight. For 7 months, Blake's legal team argued that Wallace masterminded a bot-driven smear campaign against her. The problem? There was no proof. Not one fake screenshot, not one doctored image, just speculation. Judge Louis Lyman had seen enough. He dismissed Wallace entirely, noting that the New York court had no jurisdiction over a man living in Texas. To make matters worse for Blake, the dismissal was with prejudice, meaning she can't refile the same claim in New York. If she wants to keep chasing this case, she'll have to start over in Texas, with new lawyers, new expenses, and even less credibility. The ruling threw her entire legal timeline into chaos. Flights were wasted, schedules collapsed, and witnesses were left hanging, all because the case had been built on shaky, unverified claims. It was a logistical mess, and it's one Blake can't blame on anyone but herself. And now, with her reputation crumbling, her deposition delayed, and her lawsuits unraveling, the image once synonymous with grace and confidence looks more like a PR cautionary tale. She isn't clearing her name, she's trying to erase anyone who questions it. What was once Hollywood royalty now looks like a celebrity mid-meltdown, and the audience has a front row seat. Judge Lyman, meanwhile, appears to have reached his limit. Courtroom witnesses described the tension as almost comical. You could feel the exasperation radiating off the bench. When Blake's lawyers tried to play the "but she's a celebrity" card, Lyman didn't hold back. His response was simple: celebrity can be fleeting. Translation: fame doesn't equal special treatment. Follow the rules, or get out of the way. He's not wrong. Fame is fragile, especially when you're the one setting it on fire. Blake's team seemed convinced that charm and couture could sway a federal judge, but this isn't a movie set. It's a courtroom, and Lyman made it clear that this case isn't David versus Goliath. It's Goliath versus Goliath, two powerful sides draining patience and resources alike. When Blake's lawyers tried to request extra deposition time, Lyman shut it down instantly. Federal law allows 7 hours, no exceptions. This isn't a director's cut, one attorney quipped after the hearing. The courtroom isn't a therapy session for Hollywood egos, it's a place for answers. And that's what this all comes down to: accountability. The same value Blake preaches in interviews and social posts, yet avoids when it's her turn to deliver. The longer she runs from that, the harder it'll be to recover. Because in Hollywood, silence isn't strength, it's surrender. The message couldn't be clearer: follow the rules, finish the job, and stop turning the legal process into a performance. Every move Blake has made, every subpoena, delay, and spin is collapsing under its own weight. Her deposition games, her attempts to manipulate the narrative, her reliance on celebrity privilege, all are being dismantled by basic legal reality. Judge Lyman has had enough. His message is simple: money, fame, and PR theatrics don't change the law. Blake may be used to flashing cameras and curated red carpets, but the courtroom doesn't roll out a velvet rope. What we're seeing now is the slow, undeniable unraveling, a celebrity empire colliding with the justice system, one subpoena and postponed deposition at a time. Blake's carefully polished image is cracking. And this time, the consequences are public, inescapable, and impossible to deny. Even Hollywood royalty can't dodge accountability. This saga is proof that performance and power can only mask the truth for so long. But just when you thought the spectacle couldn't grow bigger, it went international. Blake's legal reach has now crossed borders, targeting creators in Europe, including one named Sashlo. The issue? She ignored strict EU data privacy laws. These aren't suggestions. Violating them could mean billion-dollar fines. Yet her team allegedly tried to slap US subpoenas onto Google, demanding European data, a move Google flat-out refused. Their response was firm. Doing so would break European law. To make things worse, Blake's camp initially denied the subpoenas existed, calling them scams until recordings proved otherwise. Reality check. This isn't a movie script. It's real life. And now, legal analysts and media outlets are calling her exactly what she's become, a privacy predator. Because what else do you call someone who drags bloggers with 800 subscribers into federal court? This isn't justice. It's intimidation. A misuse of power disguised as empowerment. Blake isn't protecting herself, she's punishing critics, weaponizing wealth, celebrity, and the law against people who simply voiced opinions about public information. And the backlash is fierce. The woman once celebrated as America's sweetheart is now being called Big Brother Blake. The fall from grace has been swift and brutal. PR experts agree, this isn't just bad optics. It's brand suicide. The feminist icon, the bubbly entrepreneur, the mental health advocate, all fading into chaos. Because you can't champion women's empowerment while legally chasing female creators. You can't preach empathy while serving subpoenas to podcasters who make less than your hairstylist. Even her loyal fans are walking away. Reddit threads have gone silent. Twitter has turned cold. As one viral comment put it, Blake has maybe 3 supporters left, and that's being generous. The headlines tell the same story. Daily Mail summed it up best. Blake's attempt to control the narrative is now controlling her downfall. Meanwhile, Radar Online called her behavior pure harassment, warning of irreversible damage, the kind no stylist, no campaign, no PR strategist can fix. Legal commentator Emily D. Baker went even further, calling Blake's subpoena spree the biggest backfire in celebrity legal history. And she's right. Every creator Blake tried to silence has gained more followers, more attention, and more credibility. Because nothing amplifies a small voice faster than a celebrity trying to shut it down. The more Blake fights, the more she loses control. Each filing, each delay, each overreach only fuels the fire. What she thought would intimidate critics has made them louder, united, and impossible to ignore. Judge Lyman is done. The creators are done. The media is entertained. And the internet, well, it never forgets. Blake hasn't just damaged her brand, she's turned it into a meme. And not the flattering kind. May 23, 2025. That date might go down as the moment she accidentally detonated her own reputation. The text messages she once sent in private have become the perfect metaphor for her entire crisis, a desperate attempt to control every narrative that only unleashed more chaos. She's weaponized influence and privilege in a way that's alienated the very audience that once adored her. And the irony couldn't be more poetic. The louder she tries to silence others, the more she amplifies them. Each subpoena, each motion, each carefully worded press statement. All of it has become another nail in the coffin of the image she built, an image now defined not by elegance or advocacy, but by arrogance and overreach. Around the world, creators are mobilizing. US YouTubers, European vloggers, all connecting, sharing, and speaking out. The community she tried to intimidate is now her most powerful opposition. What she hoped to contain has exploded into global attention. And the truth stands tall. In the digital age, the harder you try to erase something, the louder it echoes. Blake Lively's legal crusade has turned into a case study in celebrity miscalculation, a textbook example of how power without restraint becomes self-destruction. She turned subpoenas into PR disasters, court delays into public spectacle, and her once golden brand into a cautionary tale. Despite her wealth, fame, and polished public image, Blake Lively's credibility, the foundation that once carried her through Hollywood and public favor, is now in complete freefall. What started as a high-profile legal battle has spiraled into a full-scale meltdown. On May 23, she claimed to be a victim of harassment. But the same day, her text messages to Justin Baldoni told a very different story. She thanked him, praised their collaboration, and even sent a string of cheerful emojis. That's not the behavior of someone fearful or traumatized, it's the tone of a colleague showing warmth and gratitude. The contradiction is impossible to ignore. While she speaks publicly about suffering emotional distress, her own words reveal laughter, lightness, and comfort on set. It's as if she handed her opposition their strongest evidence, complete with receipts. Then came the final blow. Behind-the-scenes footage from that same day surfaced, complete with audio. In it, Blake and Justin are seen laughing, dancing, and working seamlessly together. No visible tension, no discomfort, and certainly no sign of harassment. Critics are calling it the smoking gun, a moment where the narrative simply falls apart. What it suggests is deeply damaging, not just exaggeration, but the deliberate creation of a story that doesn't align with reality. Then there's the financial side. Blake's team claims that Justin's alleged smear campaign caused up to $70 million in losses for her haircare brand, Blake Brown. But when asked to provide financial proof, she refused. The explanation? Confidentiality. Her lawyers insist the brand collapsed because of bad publicity, ignoring the far simpler possibility that consumers just weren't buying overpriced products during a PR disaster. At the same time she claimed her empire was crumbling, she was starring in and producing It Ends With Us, a box office success praised by critics and loved by audiences. Her face was everywhere: billboards, interviews, press tours. So how can someone's reputation be destroyed when they're headlining a hit film? You can't be the face of success and the victim of ruin at the same time. Baldoni's legal team requested access to her financial records to verify her claims. The judge denied it, calling the request irrelevant, a move that raised more eyebrows than it closed. If your case rests on financial devastation, your records matter. But Blake's team seems to want both sympathy and secrecy, public outrage without public accountability. And now, that double standard has caught up with her. What began as a personal conflict has become a cultural flashpoint. This isn't just a lawsuit anymore, it's a war on free expression, on independent creators, and on the right to discuss public information. Instead of uplifting others, Blake has used her platform to silence them. The backlash? Massive. Every creator she targeted has seen their audiences grow. Videos about her case are going viral. The public's support for these creators has turned into a movement, a digital revolt against intimidation. Her fans are disappearing. The media has turned on her.